So my name is Faria. I moved to Canada 5 years ago to pursue my BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts, at the University of Fraser Valley. I recently graduated with my bachelor's degree, and and I am in the process to pursue my master's degree right now. My practice deals with social, political issues and cultural issues. And I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across UFV's SOCA's website, and they had this posting for this project. And I read about it, and it didn't have much information. So I researched about it, and I thought this would be an amazing opportunity to put my voice in, because I do feel strongly about this. And it would help my understand, like it will help me understand a bit better of the culture, of how the community works. So then I thought, okay, I would apply and pursue it. It was amazing. My mentors, both Shelley and Desiree, they have been tremendously helpful. They were all about the artist and the cause. It wasn't about who is sponsoring or who this project was based upon, but it was solely about the project itself, the cause itself, and the artist. We voiced our concern. There were some concerns along the road, but all those concerns, I can for sure say, were handled very cautiously, because this is a sensitive matter. It is a sensitive subject, and we wanted it to be handled respectfully and cautiously, and the mentors did an amazing job with that. And with my fellow peers, with them, I had a very learning opportunity. They taught me so much that I didn't know before coming to this project. There were things that culturally I wasn't aware of. So talking to them, the meetings that we had did enlighten me into a lot of more things that I didn't know. They were very diverse. We all had different backgrounds. We were all coming from different paths of life, and we all had experiences that were traumatizing, and we all coming together, and we are agreeing to the same cause, and we're agreeing to everything we believe in. So that was awesome to have my voice, but then the artist supporting my voice and telling me, yes, that is right. That is something that we feel strongly about too. So that's awesome. So my work is a representation of a Black female woman who stands strong, and she looks at the viewers, the audience, with that raging eyes. The fires in her eyes kind of represents the blazing flame and rage within. When I started thinking about the project and thinking about what I should draw, I looked up images of the whole social justice movement, and the images were all of people standing at the protests and raising their voice and standing strong, no matter what, no matter how much they were pulled back, pushed back, they still kept that strong front. And that's where I started my inspiration, and eventually researched into what things would better represent a Black African woman. So I then Googled some images for the traditional gowns and dresses, because I wanted her to be adorned in something that shows power. And the Black African woman in their community, they make this kind of art, the pattern, for their sustainability, for their economy, for their for selling, buying. So that's where I thought, okay, that is a strength. That is it by itself independence, right? So I looked at the Maasai tribe for their patterns, and the beautiful patterns were so vibrant. They were so mesmerizing. You look at the patterns and your eyes follow through the pattern. So I tried to do that. I tried to mimic that. And so the Black artist, Esther Mahlangu, she is an amazing artist who deals with patterns and bold patterns. So I took my inspiration from her. I wanted the whole painting to be everything from top to bottom, to be a representation of the Black community. So I kept it at that. And she stands in front of this bright, vibrant red orange background, which resembles the fire. So the chaos, the fire that goes in the background, but I still stand strong. That's this kind of message I wanted to show. I think the inspiration was basically from the protests, like the images of the protests and the Black fist. Everyone there had their fist up, and it really showed that, okay, this is it. And I thought, okay, if I painted something that showed that fist along with the strength. So that's where the post came from. So I think this is from the image that I looked up, and I am not sure where that image came from. It was from one of the protests that people were standing, and there was this one girl who had her fist backwards rather than the front side. And even though it resembles the same thing, it had the same idea of the fist being held up. I thought it was more of the unity that showed in that posture rather than just raising your hand. I started with a whole different idea at first, and I was pretty confident about that idea. It was a void separating two skin tones. But I cannot just have one void separating it. It's a lot of entity who separates us, separates the skin color. So then I kept thinking that it's not just one thing that separates us. It's a lot of things that acts against us to separate us. So then I moved on to things that truly inspire a movement, and those are the people who are constantly standing, unwavering, constantly trying to raise their voice, constantly trying to have something, unity, togetherness for them to work towards. So that's when I started thinking about this image of a Black woman, and I ended up with this. I think with this, in this context, like in this era, a lot of people are more conscious about the things they see and just don't rely on media. Previously, media would be run by white supremacists and would show what they wanted to show. But with these kind of social platforms, we see this issue in a whole different light. We see it from the eyes of the victim. So this social context, like this time, this place, really helps, because whatever I say. It's not being delegated or not being said by a third person who doesn't believe in my cause. So I think this is the perfect time for us to stand up and talk and make sure that this is what we said and this is what is being portrayed. I think with my being from a marginalized community, you have a better understanding of being in the lower community, being in the lower section of the community. I did face a lot of backlash, a lot of trauma growing up, and in Canada also. So I can relate at a personal level how they must be feeling, what they must be going through. So this kind of encourages me to fight for this cause even more, because I know I would want someone to speak for me. I would want someone to fight for me. So being able to talk about them, talk about this cause, and being able to stand by them is what drives my practice. I think because of where I grew up and how my outlook is, I don't get treated the same way as a Canadian would. I do sometimes have moments where I would feel like, okay, this is not the country for me, because I don't imagine myself being not treated as one of their own. It's always this constant fear of not being able to belong, being an outsider. Canada is my home, and I shouldn't feel this way about my home. So, yeah. It does. It informs my practice. It informs everything I do. Everyone feels Canada is a good country, and it is compared to others, but I shouldn't be comparing my home with other places. And my art practice is a way of me fighting back, is a way of me to raise my voice. Yeah. Yes. So we initially thought of doing acrylic, and I did oil by choice because I felt the skin tone, the brightness, the vibrancy would be better shown in an oil medium than with acrylics. The skin tone is so luscious. I wanted it to be soft. I wanted it to be luscious. I wanted to have a glow. So I chose oil because oil lets you do that. It gives you the time to blend, to take your time, to play with the section. So yeah, I loved that medium. It was overwhelming in a good way. Being treated like you are the spotlight is something I didn't experience before, but knowing that everyone, my mentors and everyone, were there to support what my art piece and what my art piece represents, right? So it felt very nice to have so many people come together and try and ensure you that what you're doing is the right path, it's a good path, and you should keep on going. Was overwhelming, but in a good way. I think it's when everyone stood up and everyone was talking about the Black lives, how important it was, and how important this cause is, and how everyone is supporting this cause. And I thought, that's awesome. Like, everyone here is feeling what I'm feeling, and my art is doing that. My art kind of helped to spark up that conversation. It kind of helped to have a community come together and talk about this, and maybe eventually spread it to others and others and others. So yeah, it was awesome. This is a cause that we're all fighting for, and this is something, once we finish, it's not the end. There's like, I did my part, I did the painting, I finished my part, but I think now it's everyone who's viewing this art, their responsibility to take something away from it and put it into a good cause. Shelley and Desiree were amazing throughout the process. They were very supportive. They encouraged us every step of the way. Any questions, any concerns, they were on top of it. Like, you have a question, even if they weren't aware of, they would get the information, gather everything, and get us what we needed. They always tried to advocate the artist rather than what the corporations or what the sponsors wanted. They wanted the artists to be comfortable. They wanted us to always feel safe talking about this matter. It's a sensitive issue, and a lot of people do not like this cause, to be quite honest. So they protected us from all those voices, from all those people telling us, okay, this would have been better, this might have been better, or maybe you could have taken a different path. But they always stuck by us and kept assuring what we are doing was good, what's needed for this project.